Hey, it's Brandon, and welcome to Retro Reactions, a place where I experience amazing music from the 70s, 80s, and 90s for the very first time. And today we're going to be traveling all the way back to 1974 to listen to Screaming Through December by Hall Oates. Excited to have them back on the channel. This one comes from War Babies, their third studio album. It's a gritty, psychedelic diary of the chaos, exhaustion, and bizarre realities of touring. Should be interesting. Early Hall & Oates, don't even think I've heard much except for the biggest hits from the 70s, so we're not even halfway into the 70s here. Excited. Let's see if this is a long one. I think it is. Over 6 minutes. Let's check it out. Jazzy.
What a crew we made up. There was Faustus, burnout from playing too many bars on the Jersey Shore, and Sammy, almost bald from ironing her hair too much back in '64. Me, phase on, out of phase, at least my temporary name for the day. Oh, blown away and screaming. Oh, blown away and screaming. Oh, blown away and screaming through December.
Ooh, nice.
We crossed state lines, we was burning. Although the cold could freeze your hand to the steel of a wheel, Miami, just a cold-hearted word from a warm, smiling man on a sign in a field. We laughed just to take up time. Started to drive as we were screaming, as we were screaming, as we were screaming through December.
Those notes, incredible. This is not Man-Eater.
Quasar were the first words I heard from Faustus all day. And giggling, he apologized and then returned to flicking his blade.
Does go by, what a difference 12 months can make when you're living 100 years and more. Sammy, she went home. Now she's living in a room with a gun. About to say Claire for an appetizer and blood all over his synthesizer as he went screaming, as he went screaming, as he went screaming through December.
Wow, what was that? You know, we were getting to the end. I wrote down my score on my notepad. Not too much of a question there, but I was thinking, this is so experimental, progressive, like nothing I've ever heard from them. And then we get that unbelievable ending, detuned, down, falling, melting, sagging, just pain, dissonance, darkness. Ah, what a song. Was not ready. They have so many amazing songs. I know many, I love many. This is no Man-Eater, like I said. This is no, Out of Touch, one of my favorites. Kiss on My List, etc., etc. Blown away. Even the vocals, we'll talk about that. Blown away in every aspect with this earlier Hall & Oates song. Wow. You know, I love being shocked. This was one of the biggest shocks that I've had on the channel. So the beginning, amazing. This swirly, jazzy, introspective opening. Yes. You know I love amazing openings that set the tone, set the mood. Even the piano sounded different. They had a really interesting effect going on there. It almost had an underwater sound to it. That was cool. Then the amazing Daryl Hall comes in, sounding so different for some reason. You know, I've heard him in this era. Let me see what hit. Actually, is there any big hits on this one? Maybe not. But, you know, Sarah Smile, Rich Girl were kind of around this era. So I know his early voice, but I've never heard him sound like this. The more he sang, I wrote touches, but more than touches, big vibes of early Elton John. In his cadence and inflection, was not ready for that. The diversity here, and not only the vocals, but the music, off the chain. You know I love being surprised. Yeah, such a different vibe overall. Again, those major twists and turns, so cool. Their later stuff, doesn't have that. Wow. Yeah, all that huge angst and passion was just capturing, the pain, bittersweetness, loneliness of touring to perfection. Wow. But then, that spacey section started up. Okay, I'll take it. We're blasting off on a rocket ship into space. And then boom, all of a sudden we're in the 70s funk and soul, or I should say blue-eyed soul vibe, a whole different vibe. What a drastic turn. I was moving and grooving. I was, way back then, loving life, getting down, as they used to say, to the music. Yeah, that was amazing. I'm calling it the upbeat, maybe jazzy section. No, it was more funk. But anyway, does that represent, the fun side of touring? The big ups and downs of touring? That was the fun part. And then boom, we get back to the pain. It gets dark again. It slows down again. And the one lyric, well, I caught some of the lyrics, but this one stood out to me. Was it blood all over the synthesizer? Wow, what an image there. I'm a keyboard guy, so dang, crazy stuff here. Daryl's big held notes, so impressive. Really unbelievable. I've heard him sing to perfection, in the 80s and the 70s and the newer stuff, his solo career, but never heard him sound or hold notes like that. Totally impressed. Like I said, it got sad in the end. They're back to the negative, really dark side of touring. I can't even imagine. And because of that, I got teary. Mission complete. I felt so many emotions here. And when a song takes me different places, that I adore it. Wow, wow, wow. And then, like I said, the ending, Chef's Kiss, it just literally dropped down into dark doom and gloom. What a surprising, amazing ride. Due to the sound, the journey, of course, all those experimental, artistic choices, I have to give it the Triple Epic Platinum Record Award. Yes, so easily, who would have thought? For Screaming Through December by Hall Oates, 1974. Wow. Thank you so very much, the amazing Daryl Hall, John Oates, Todd Rundgren. Apparently he did lead guitar, backing vocals, and was the producer of this album, and everyone else involved. Wow, what a shocker. I loved it. All right, that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Anyway, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment down below. If you wish to chat about this stunner, I would love to know what you think. So you take care, stay safe, stay hydrated, and remember to let peace, calm, and light into your day and night. And I'll see you next time in the past. I hope I'm the only one on YouTube to react to this song. I kind of love when that happens.